Welcome to the Sheffield Sunday As Bill Sees It's meeting. This is a main share meeting, and today it is with great pleasure and much gratitude that we welcome Dolly A. From Ohio, who's come to share for about 40 minutes, after which we'll open up for general sharing, or if you'd like to ask a question. Thank you, Dolly. It's wonderful to have you here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Here in Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're starting our day. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Young, for inviting me, and thank all of you for being here. My name is Dolly. I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is October 6, 2002. I'm forever grateful. You know, I chose this reading because it means something. It is just my heart, this whole meeting. I mean, this whole reading. And so it is the beginning of everything. It is the beginning of every day almost for me. So what I really want to do today is share my experience with you, not my education. Not definitely my education on the big book or anything like that. I want to share my experience. That's something sometimes it's hard for me because I live in my mind. And boy, what a journey downward. You know, I'm 23 years sober and I finally can put some dots together. How do you like that? Because there is a mystic power that is in this universe. There is a mystic power that exists, and it can transform all of our lives, right, into where we wouldn't even recognize ourselves at one point, and our friends won't recognize it. That comes from Emmett Fox. And Emmett Fox is part of our history in Alcoholics Anonymous, so I feel very comfortable sharing him. I'm a student of Emmett Fox. Our co-founders and the beginning people got a lot of foundation from Emmett Fox and people like that. That is a big book, truly, the foundation of our thinking. So I want to put skin on this reading today. My experience, how I see it. So that miraculous power. I'm going to give you a little bit of who I was, what I was like, right? Who I was. And I want to share with you, oh my God, thank God I get to remember who I was. Because what I'm going to share with you today is definitely not the woman sitting in front of you. I'm going to share about a very closed-minded, arrogant individual that really didn't listen to anyone, you know, and I hope that unfolds to you and how that pertains to this power. Okay. You know, I took my first drink at the age of 14 and I blacked out that night. I passed out, I blacked out, and I showed all signs of being an abnormal type drinker, but I was only a kid and that didn't make me an alcoholic, that's for sure. But I love the effects of alcohol. I fell in love. It just freed me right up. I felt like I was a part of, I felt I was cool, that everybody liked me, and I just stepped right out of myself. I was able to come out and play. Isn't that something? I was comfortable in my own skin. That to me was like, wow, that was a miracle. You know, and alcohol took because of that, because I fell in love with the feelings and maybe the phenomenon of craving. I'm not here to debate, was I an alcoholic the first time I took a drink, or did I cross an invisible line, as the book can suggest? I'm out of the debating society. The only thing I could tell you is I took a drink at 14 at a party. I took another drink. I got sick as heck. Right? And I was a disaster at that party. I woke up and thought I was cool at that party, and I loved everything that happened at that party to me. That was not reality. I think alcoholics do not like reality, right? So, but I want to tell you, because of that, and basically for me, the effects, alcohol took a vital role in my life from then on. Was I an alcoholic at the beginning? I don't know. Out of the debating society, I just know my life changed, and it slowly changed. And I slowly withdrew from life over time. I'm not here today to give you my entire story. I'm here to really share with you how I will start developing a relationship with God. I don't even know if the word start's appropriate, but how I developed and what would happen to me. All the areas of my life was affected, as I'm sure many of you can identify with. You know, my relationships, it's obvious, divorce. I don't know how to have a partnership with another human being. I use people and I love things, period, said and done. That should sum up how my relationships were. I had problems with my relationships all my life. Here's the deal. I didn't know it. I mean, like, I don't know a lot of this stuff I'm going to tell you at that time. I knew when you broke up with me, if you want to divorce me, oh my God, I'm having a problem. But I could never see the interactions and the mistakes I made and how I'm unable, that I bring everything onto myself because I'm unable to have a relationship with another human being. Wow. Wasn't that a big one when you first read that one? I thought, no way, this isn't true. It is. It is. That's the growth, the spiritual growth of our development. Having relationships with partnerships, not relationships. I don't use the word. I could have an unhealthy one. Partnership. I want to tell you, my school, my education, I went to school, I end up, I'm in a graduate program, and you're not going to, well, you might believe it, I end up quitting the graduate program right on the verge of graduation because I'm drinking too much and something had to go. And it was graduate school. Alcohol's already, I'm a young woman. Alcohol's becoming my master. I do not know this. I want you to know I did not know this. This is not a disease of denial. And I don't think Bill Wilson mentions denial too much in this big book, the 164 pages, once or twice. And I know I have big book thumpers that say, I know once for sure, but this is not a disease of denial. Okay. I don't even know it exists. I don't even know it's happening. Like, I kind of live in ignorance, darkness. My schools, my jobs get affected. I had good jobs. I had great opportunities. And we didn't do everything bad. Everything wasn't negative, but oh my God, am I starting a course that will lead to a total destruction? My jobs, I had good jobs. I had a job with the court system. I loved it. I could have became an attorney, but I got to tell you something. 3 years into that job, I'm drinking more. And guess what? I can't handle the job because I have to be responsible. I have to appear in court. I have to get my little butt up and get dressed and go to work and be professional. Can't do it after 3 years. In fact, my mind says I don't even want to do it anymore. That's not the truth. That was dishonest to myself. Guess what I did? Well, I quit the job, a job that I loved. And I'm just trying to share with you some things that alcohol always won. Alcohol always won out. I never said I'm going to quit drinking. My mind always generalized, rationalized, minimized. It always turned it to, that's got to go. That's not for me anymore. The truth I never face. It's my drinking. And it goes deeper than that. Below my drinking, it's my self-centeredness to the core. I'm here to tell you that I was a woman who did exactly what she wanted to do when she wanted to do it. That's right. When my mother was on her deathbed, she looked at me and she said, Dolly, you did everything you wanted to do. And she did not mean that in the good way. You know, like, oh man, you went out there and took. I want to quit a job, boom, right there, boom, quit. Not even thinking things through. I just do what I'm like a kid in a candy store. And I don't even worry about consequences, really, unless I'm going to get, I don't even know what to say. My health will suffer. You know, I will get a liver problem, a liver disease. And I said, oh my God, I quit drinking. You better believe it. Put my hand to God. You know, you better believe it. I go home. I had one more party, the last party before I really quit. See, that's who I am. I'm going to have that last hurrah. And I really do that. Guess what? The last party lasts for, oh my God, another 15 years. I mean, like, wow, I hang in there. And I think as an alcoholic, I'm here to tell you, as I look back, I can hang in there. You see, because I have no choice. I will drink. I drink against my will. And that statement is deep if you meditate on it. Against my own willpower, I will drink. There was no time limit on that one. For me, I can't say, well, only drink for a day, only drink for a week, and my morals, my values obviously decline. I treat my parents and my family terribly. My God, I treated people on the street better than I treated them. Absolutely. Looking at the time, I've had a near-death experience, I think a couple of times. I was in a blackout a little bit, and I was driving my little car because I felt I looked cool in this car. See, everything was on the outside of me, outside in. I didn't know how to live on the inside out because I was empty on the inside. I don't use the word a hole in my soul because I don't identify with the idea of a hole. But boy, do I identify with emptiness. I get really. So I'm driving this car and I'm coming on the freeway around Dead Man's Curve. That's what they called it. And I put that car right under the back of a semi. And that semi will drag me 3 miles. I didn't know I was under semi. I got out of that car. I tried to get out of the car and I heard a voice deep down that said, Dolly, just sit here. The police will be here. And I listened. I listened to that inner voice. That's a miracle in and of itself that I listened. Even listening to myself. I'm impulsive. I act on my feelings. And unfortunately, my thoughts are ruled by, everything was ruled by my feeling. And the police did come and they opened the door and I jumped out of that car like I was at a party. The truck driver was afraid to come back to the back of the truck. It was a semi. He thought I was decapitated or cut in half. It went right to my windshield, the back, and the windshield was arm's distance. It was a near-death experience. I walked out without a scratch. And I remember the truck driver when he saw me get up out of the car. He was in the front of the truck, the poor guy. Poor old chap, I want to say, right? And he screamed at me. He said, were you driving that car? And I said, yes. He said, do you believe in God? And of course, without even anything, no depth. I had no depth. I said, oh, I do. I believe in God. In that tone, so inappropriate. near-death experience. I didn't even know what he was asking me. So I never went deep down inside. I want to tell you, after that near-death experience, I continue to drink another 15, 20 years. I just don't. I want to end this part a little bit for you. Needless to say, I was in many detoxes. I'm the jaywalker. And I look at the jaywalker, all of us are, and I think many of us could relate to the jaywalker if you're a real alcoholic, right? But my relation to that jaywalker, I think of myself in those treatment centers. I go into detox, right? And, all these, many of them, and every time I'm done, I am absolutely finished. I'm not doing this again. I'm not stupid, I mean, absolutely. Oh my God, I'm always in a lot of trouble, and I go in there and that's it. And I come out, give me a week or two, I drink again. And I will do this for a number of years. And this is when I want to get in. I think I qualified. I think, you're listening to a real alcoholic speak. And that is important, especially if there's newcomers here. That I'm a woman that had no solution. I'm a woman that is not going to stop drinking. I want to because I can't. And I can't emphasize that enough. Because there's the piece I missed on all levels. So I want to tell you, that last treatment center I was in the last time, let me say this. Every time I went to a treatment center, my first one was in 1987, every time they refer me to AA. Back then, you're always going to AA in this country. Today, it's a whole different ball game. We're not going to talk about that here, okay? But they refer you to AA. So I'm coming around AA for about 15 years, right? But I'm visiting AA. I'm coming around AA. I even practice a few steps with a sponsor. But I don't get it. I can't get it. Some people used to say I was the woman who couldn't put dots together. They were right. I never had it in all those 15 years. But I always thought, I'm finished. I'm done. Put my right hand up. I'm finished. And I wasn't lying. I wasn't lying. You see, you could put a lie detector on me, and I was telling you the truth. I was done until I couldn't handle life anymore, and I need a drink. I need a drink just to get through. That's it. And you know what happens to someone like me. So I want to tell you, I used to call myself a relapser. Because I'm in AA 15 years, here I go again, I'm missing, I've been there about a month, and now I'm missing again, and everybody goes, oh, I'm out there doing my thing, right? Back in detox, right? Here I come again, I'm back in detox, here I come again, back in detox, oh my God, what a merry-go-round, right? I want to tell you something that affected me greatly because of who I was. So I'm coming around AA all this time, and I'm not staying too long. I used to say I'm a relapser because I had to reintroduce myself so many times. It was like really embarrassing, right? And my one-time sponsor said to me, stop reintroducing yourself. I said, that's what I'm supposed to do, right? She said, you're not a relapser. She says, you're embarrassing me. I said, wow, the sponsor just told me I'm embarrassing her. I loved it, right? I laughed today when we think about it. But That woman saved my life later, I'll tell you that. And my sponsor says, "You're not a relapser." I said, "That's what the treatment center says I am. That's what all you guys say I am." She said, "You don't have anything. You never had anything. You can't relapse from something you don't have." She was right. I never had anything. Step one, never. Until now. I want to tell you about my first meeting, what a big stumbling block it became for me. I'm checking my time. I have time. My first meeting was in 1987. The treatment center sent me there. And guess what? All my friends thought I should go to AA. And I says, okay. I kind of needed some help. I'm on the verge of losing another job, right? I get to the meeting and the speaker, first meeting, I'm standing in the back. The speaker says, "I got a DUI and thank you, Jesus. I am sober." Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What did she say? Thank you, Jesus. Uh-oh. You see, I want to explain something, my experience. I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school 12 years. Religion was my favorite subject. I had a lot of prejudices against the Catholic Church. I had a lot of generalizations in my mind. I had a lot of resentments. And oh my God, this is a Jesus freak movement I am not in at all. And I got to tell you, I took all those mindlessness right about that. I hear the word Jesus, and here's what I hear. Not today, back then, 25 years ago. Catholic Church, religion. See, I generalize. I don't have the ability to go inside and discern. They're not necessarily talking about the Catholic Church. But no. That's where I go. And I feel I was done wrong by them. And guess what? Not again. I'm not getting involved with you. In fact, I think I know better than you. I think you're outdated. I think, come on, look at what the Christians have done in the world. Does this sound familiar? Bill writes about this. Look at what the Christians have done in history. I'm a smart person. I'm Christian, but I have my own version of Jesus. I still do. And it's beautiful. And it doesn't not include everyone, even Catholics, right? I don't have those prejudices anymore, thank you, God. But let me go on about that. I left that meeting. I didn't even stay for that meeting. I mean, I had that kind of aversion to something. That should say enough. That I was so close-minded that I walk out and I don't continue to listen. That should tell you. You see, I have to say, I knew the program was about God. I have no problem with believing in God. I do believe in God. Absolutely. But I had a problem. And here it was. Step 2 isn't only we come to believe, thank God it says that, in a power that can restore me to sanity. The second part, I don't believe there's an intervening God. I just don't. I don't think that's too intelligent. Okay, right, I pray, and God says, there's little Dolly Abbott. I'll go help you today. Santa Claus, right? Be a good girl, and you're going to get all the gifts. I don't believe that. There it is. Why? Why would I go to a God that I don't believe is going to do anything for me? I mean, now I'm looking back at it, I see, well, wow, with that thought system, of course you're not going to turn to God. It's illogical. Why would you? Right? I go to the chair. I know the chair ain't going to do anything for me. So I don't believe in that. I think it's mushy. I want to say something to you. Never accepted an intervening God. Huh? I thought it wasn't right. You see, I had gone to college and I got very educated. Oh yeah, I got bright. And I kind of, look at me, kind of like aspired to being intelligent. You see, my grandmother, I was no longer like Grandma. Grandma raised me as a little girl. My mother was a professional woman. My whole family, Grandma and Grandpa lived there. Grandma was an immigrant from Italy. She didn't speak English. She couldn't read or write, never had an education. She was the most intelligent woman and compassionate woman I know. Let me say that before I go on. And I got to tell you, Grandma taught me the rosary, taught me how to pray. Because that's all Grandma did was pray. 3 times a day. She was real involved in the church. She was a beautiful woman. And I loved her very, very much. And she would put me on my knees and say, do the rosary. Her and her old lady friends would come over and I'd be with them. And she taught me a very loving God, not a punishing God. Right? And I got to say, I like, Grandma gave me a faith, a foundation deep that I had lost. Because, see, I didn't want to be like Grandma anymore. I got educated. I was in college. I was a smart woman. I'm like Grandpa. Grandpa's an alcoholic. He's a binge drinker. But they all said he was intelligent, right? In fact, some say he was a genius. He had 5 different languages. I never heard him speak any. It's a little girl. But I just know he was, oh my God, when he'd go out and drunk, we'd hold our breath. But I want to be like Grandpa. I'm in college. Do you believe this? That I am now making the association. Grandpa didn't believe in God. They used to say Grandpa don't believe in God. They think he's an atheist. Okay. Well, I make an association, a childish subconscious association up here. Grandma, blind faith, not educated, not intelligent. Grandpa, intelligent, doesn't believe in God. Well, I'm like him. Because aren't we far more advanced? Poor Grandma. I love her. She's a good woman, right? But little behind, I'm not behind. That inferiority complex. I have that egomania with that inferiority complex. So I'm more like Grandpa. I guess the bottom line I want to share with you right now, I worship reason. I worship reason. There you go. And I used to love to fight with the nuns and everyone, everything. My favorite subject was God and religion. I believed I was agnostic. Sometimes I could be a sober agnostic today, but I got my senses a little bit more. I've been restored, okay? But I got to tell you, I had a lot of knowledge about God. See, I was an avid reader. I read a lot of the different religions. I was always a seeker. I always loved seeking, but I always wanted to know, who is God? I want to know who God is. Don't you have an answer for me? Tell me who God is. So I'm reading all over the place. And I love the readings. And there's some real commonalities with the human race that seems like we, of all places, of all times, and you can go back 10,000 years to the Native Americans, that all of us were just wired somewhere in our primal energy to seek a creator, and I certainly was seeking a creator. I didn't put it in those terms, but I always wanted to know who God was, But I didn't believe God cared really about me. That I don't believe that piece. I want to know who he is. Maybe if I knew who he was, I thought education was everything. Nobody could tell me any different. I was very close-minded and I was very arrogant. I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but I'll share this with you. I thought I had like these higher ideas of God, like higher concepts, higher education, higher knowledge. I come from the high, not the low, right? About who God is and what. I gotta tell you something. I realized on my journey of seeking God, that I'm in kindergarten. I think I tell people what everybody already knows, and I think I'm enlightening people. Oh my God, help me. I told you, it's funny. Bill Wilson said we're in spiritual kindergarten. Oh, Bill, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You know, and that's just me. So I had all this knowledge, and I thought knowledge was the formula, and it was never the formula. You see, I was never honest, I was never willing, and I was never open-minded, and I didn't even know. Basically what I'm telling you is I had a lot of knowledge about God, but I didn't have a relationship with God. Oh my God, what is that? Well, how do you do a relationship? What do you mean? How do you have a relationship? I won't even, that's a whole different talk that I love, and how I would develop that relationship. Thank you, Alcoholics Anonymous. You gave me a design that brought me right to God. You see, I didn't know. I got this knowledge. My sponsor used to say, you got a beautiful computer mind with useless information. And I used to get mad. I'd say, what do you mean useless? She says, well, you can't do anything. She said, if you can't use the information, it's useless. Wow. Wow. Right? Now, isn't that a rise of consciousness just to another level? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You see, because I was so close-minded, I live on the outside in. I never looking deep inside every man, woman, and child, looking deep inside of me. I'm thinking God's out here, he's over there where he is, I'm looking for him. One day I was sitting at Dr. Bob's house, and I'm going to share this because I realized this was the most significant thing of my journey. I was a newcomer. And I was sitting in the living room at Dr. Bob's house. I was waiting for visitors to come. Nobody was around that afternoon. The door was open, the front door. And I'm sitting there in the spirit of Annie and love Ann Smith, all of them. And the door was open and I was waiting for God. I sat there for 3 hours looking at that front door, waiting for God. I walked out and I said, well, maybe next time he'll come. Today, I'll tell you this, he was everywhere there. He was everywhere. I was like the fish looking for water, right? I was engulfed in it. But I want to tell you how that will happen, being engulfed in it. You see, I never lived, I think I said that, I don't have to repeat it, but I never looked deep inside it, nothing in my life. Everything was on the outside, new car, new relationship, right? And I'm going back to, I never looked inside because I was never broken open. Broken open. Bill's going to refer to this in his last column about this step 1, powerlessness. All the things I went through, it didn't quite break me open. Where the gorilla says, don't go back in the ring with the gorilla. Oh, don't worry, I got it this time. And I remember I was kicked out of the last treatment facility. The doctor was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And he told me, Dolly, don't you ever come back here again for help. He said, you don't listen to anybody, you're unteachable. Oh my God, 30 years had gone by. From 14 to 50, here's what I get. You're unteachable. He was right. I came home to my mommy and I want to share how I got to. I was broken open. Because when I was broken open, something happened to me of a miraculous nature. And I remember I came home, a couple months went by, I did what I always did. It's predictable, it's probable, unless some miracle happens, because all human behavior is predictable and on probability levels. Of course you're going to drink again. And I got to tell you, I called that doctor. I asked him, please let me in. Please, I'll do anything you say. The man said no. He said, no, Dolly. He said, now I'm going to pray for you. What? What? He was a member of AA. He was my Dr. Silkworth. And I believe that. Their spirits come to us. We all have Abby. We have them. They come. And I told him off, of course. I didn't understand. I had nowhere to go. I went in my bedroom, and I want to tell you at that point in time, rosary. I'm living with her. She's doing the rosary in the living room. You see, I do what I want. My mother lives in fear. Fear. I'm an only child. She doesn't know what's going to happen to her. She's 85 years old. Nice daughter, huh? No. Self-centered. I went to the bedroom. 30 years had passed. I couldn't get in a treatment center. I didn't know what to do. AA was the last house on the block, but I'm not thinking of you, right? I could see for the first time I sat on that bed. It just went like a flash. It was like God froze the lies so I could see the truth. Just a second of it. Thank you, God. And I could see that every time I took a drink, I end up locked up in a detox. Maybe a year down the road, maybe 5 years down the road, but I never am able to stop. Oh, I stopped, then I go to the treatment center. I can't stay stopped. This has been going on for years. Wow. I started to say I got to go put myself in prison. I can't get in a treatment center. See, I felt that I had to lock myself up because if I didn't, I will drink again. So I was honest with myself. I said, Dolly, why do you lie to yourself and everyone? You are not going to quit drinking. You've been saying that for 20 years. Stop it. Tell yourself, I'm going to die like this. And I knew it. There was no doubt in my mind. I'm not going to quit. You should think I'm going to quit, Dolly. I have no choice. And that's what the book tells us. And this is really, let me go on. When I thought about putting myself in prison, now I'm planning my retirement in prison. Talk about incomprehensible demoralization. I wanted to be an attorney at one point. Now I'm going to prison to save my own life. I got to go to prison because I'm afraid I'm going to take a drink. And if I take a drink, I'm going to die like this because I can't stop. And here's the killer. I have no choice. I am going to take a drink. Oh my God. Could that be? Is that what we suffer from? My God. I got to tell you, with that thought, I got so fearful. So deeply fearful. I hit my knees because that was a perfect step one. Perfect. I didn't say this is perfect. I'm not talking AA terms. I knew what powerless meant that night. Perfect step one. You're going to die like this, Dolly. There it is. No way out. Wow. When you really know you got no way out, there's only one thing left, and it's got to be deep down inside of you, and it's God. I call it God. Okay. I hit my knees and I said that gutter to God prayer. So I went back to what Grandma taught me. I didn't have a relationship with this power that I don't think intervenes in my life, but perhaps, maybe perhaps. I don't know what the result's going to be. I don't even care. But perhaps, God, you're there. And I really mean it. I hit my knees. We call it, I said that gutter to God prayer. And I did not ask to stay sober because I don't believe it's going to happen because there is no intervening God, right? And I said, Father, have mercy on me. Grandma taught me that when I was a little girl. That's what she believed in. That's what she believed. That just went on. I want to wrap it up 1 second, 1 minute. I want to tell you, I felt that prayer and I had confidence that that prayer was heard inside. I thought it was heard. And I got to tell you, another word for confidence is faith. When you have confidence in something, you have faith in it. I was given a gift like Bill, the first seed of faith, but I didn't think more about it. 3 days later, my first sponsor from AA came. I didn't call her. I didn't call anyone. And she did a perfect 12-step. And guess what? After talking with her, because I'm going to end, tell me what to do. We started step 3. Tell me what to do. 1, 2, and 3 happened in real time, right? And I got to tell you, the reason I got the willingness is because I got the faith. I'm not willing to do anything with something that probably will never work. Maybe, perhaps, if I do what you do, I'll get what you get. Who is this God? Just maybe. The faith of a mustard seed. My problem was solved, and the biggest thing I learned from you, and I had a spiritual experience that night and many more. I was cooperating with my Creator. I felt the presence of my Creator. That is a relationship. Not me sitting here going, oh, do this, do that. I want this. You got that. I don't even believe in you. I don't even know what's going on. I mean, come on. You see, how did I start cooperating? I sat in that bedroom and I looked inside. And I said a prayer that took willingness to get on my knees. Action. God doesn't make too hard terms for those, right? For us. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And here I am. I will tell you, all my faith is determined by the actions that I take. In fact, my entire relationship with God is based on the actions what I take. And I get results, and my faith increases as I move. What a journey. It is beautiful, right? So, the man in Akron, Ohio told me, do you know where the miracle happens? For me, this is true. I don't know you. I said, where does it happen, the miracle? Step 12? No, Dolly. Step 1. You'd be left with nothing. Nothing you can do. See, because I'm a human power. So I'm powerless. Thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you all.